important moments in the Welsh dressing room. They've recovered well from a difficult start. Rousing speeches might not be the strength of the Welsh captain, Sam Warburton. But John Smith certainly knows how to motivate the Springboks in the other dressing room. 10-6 ahead, the world champions, as we head into the second half in Wellington. Gareth Thomas, what's the task from the Welsh point of view, certainly in the first 20 minutes of this half?
Well, I just think they keep playing the way they are. If they can talk the talk, then they've got to walk the walk. I think they've said that the fittest they've been coming into this tournament. They're against an older South African team. The second half should benefit them more than South Africans.
Yeah, fitness might tell in these conditions, with the South Africans looking good but without a great deal of match experience behind them.
I want to see more urgency. You've got to go into the second half with a lot more urgency, running onto the ball. Then I think South Africa could close it down. But if they don't, they'll come unstuck.
You're a hard man, Francois, but Sean, it's on for Wales, isn't it?
Yeah, Wales have got a real opportunity here. And obviously the winner of this game will probably decide the pool.
10-6 South Africa into the second half. Phil Vickery, Nick Mullins once again.
Neither side have made any changes at half-time. So South Africa, as they were beyond that early change in the first half. Butch James coming on for Jean de Villiers. De Villiers with a rib problem.
He's released.
Second time in the opening match in 2 World Cups that he's had to go off prematurely. Mornay Steyn to Berger, beautifully done. Offloaded neatly by Danny Rousseau, feeding eventually Peterson. He's held up by Dan Lydiot, who has been one of Wales' real grafters so far in this match. Spies upended. Fourie de Preer, the skipper John Smith, helped out by Yanni du Plessis, whose brother Bismarck waits in the wings, and then Wales win the ball back. Hugh Bennett was all over it. Warburton was right in the thick of things as well. And South Africa and Smith cough up possession in a really frustrating position for them.
Excellent start for Wales again. South Africa come out the blocks. The Welsh team fired up, big hits going in. Your captain comes to the fore. Good hit, on your feet quickly, onto the ball, strong. That's what you need your captain to do. But sows a seed in the referee's mind as well. Beginning of the half, Wales are ready for this.
So a shot of Warren Gatland. He's likened Sam Warburton to a McCaw, a Pocock, even a Brousseau on the South African side. He's still very, very young, but he is already heading in that direction, and we saw what Sam Warburton does at his best just then. This is Alan Wynne-Jones as Wales now again pressure the South African 22. Lydiot. Phillips going down the blind side, using Priestland. This is Shane Williams. First time we've really seen him with the opportunity to switch the lights on. Peterson was in the way, but these are moments of real interest for Wales. And those in the cake tin realise it. Priestland again straightens things up. Phillips taken on by Warburton, stayed low. Tackle needed to be made by Matfield. That's the try line. Faletau lost it. And South Africa gratefully have it back. The big booming boot of Francois Steyn knocks Wales back up towards the halfway line. But that run initially from Shane Williams really had us interested.
Set the crowd alight too, didn't it? Fantastic to see him in full flow. Done well, stayed in field, kept the ball alive.
I'll bring them.
Just took his eyes off the ball, difficult. He's had a good game. It was interesting for Wales though, using that blind side, the short side, coming back more often than perhaps we've seen them.
Phillips to Priestland. Ooh, that was very, very nearly interesting. Butch James, it did interest Fourie de Preer. Wales are going to have to work from deep with Priestland. He needs to be careful. Ball was touched in flight off the outstretched fingertips of Jacques Fourie, so Wales will have the line out.
Some huge impacts going in out there now.
Willem Alberts is
touch there, ball.
Redding himself and Johan Muller as well.
Watch back on.
There's the change. It's an early change and it's a concerning one because it's Victor Matfield who doesn't look overly happy with life. Muller on, and Matfield, man of the match in the final 4 years ago, calling it a day after this tournament, is off. 2 significant substitutions earlier than they would have wanted to for South Africa. Jean de Villiers in the first half and now Victor Matfield in the second. See what impact that has on the match. Tendai, the beast them to Awira, is still very much with us, as is Steyn, as is Yanni du Plessis. Picked up by Peterson, rolls away. Time now for South Africa to show their hand a little bit. Oh, that was nearly delicious from Butch James. Gathered and kicked in one movement, and in the circumstances James Hook did well to flop onto the ball and draw the penalty in the end from overly anxious South Africans trying to wrestle it back from him.
You need to get the balance right between competing and over-exuberance. That Wales under a huge amount of pressure there.
Well, South Africa might have real problems in the second row, Phil, because Bakis Botha, we're hearing, could well be on a plane home next week, such is the seriousness of his Achilles injury. Victor Matfield off now. And then the clearing kick from Wales was just brilliant. But some real issues beginning to develop for the defending champions in a key area of the match.
Well, from experience, Nick, you know, when you go into a test match, you go through your week's training, running the line-outs is a key area. And Victor Matfield has been superb at that for many years, and that would be a huge blow to the South African team if that's serious.
Johan Muller, the Ulster captain, will work tirelessly though, and they've got some defending to do here. Again, using George North to good effect. Faletau has been driven backwards though. Ran into a marauding South African back row. Priestland, Jonathan Davis, who rather like his more famous namesake, more famous for the centre these days. Dan Lydiate.
He's got through a mountain of work, hasn't he? Dan Lydiate.
As has Alan Wynne-Jones. There's barely a Welsh player who hasn't. Priestland again with that little chip through the defence, and it didn't go into touch, and Frans Steyn had to make sure that it did in the end, and Wales will have the line out.
Well, we talked about opportunities. The South Africans look very, very sluggish. This could be a moment in the match where we'll be talking about afterwards. Real pivotal point now.
Off the line.
South Africa just don't seem to be here at the moment, and Wales must realise that.
They're stuck in second gear.
Big line out. Bennett finds Jones. The initial Springbok defence was good, but it's been splintered. Wales try to stabilise the situation. South Africa have taken the ball to ground. Faletau
2 players on the feet competing for
puts
the
his
ball. That's one.
shoulder to the wheel.
Ball is available.
Phillips can see it, as can Wayne Barnes. Bennett straight to the sanctuary of the turf. Phillips again using the blind side. Again the patience of the men in red. Again the try line within sight. Bennett again not taking the tackle, going immediately to ground. It came off the feet of Adam Jones, but Phillips and Wales escape. Faletau takes him to Awira with him. They're going to do it the hard way if they can. It's as close as they've been. This is Paul James. When will they spin it wide? Is this the moment? Priestland to Davis. Wales have got the penalty. South Africa are offside. Jones. John Smith desperately trying to organise that South African defence.
Advantage offside midfield.
Williams, taken on again by Roberts. South Africa trying to hold him up. Roberts goes to ground.
Offside.
Barnes
Give me the mic, Vinny.
finally blows the whistle.
Here. 22 offside midfield.
Butch James was offside. We wait to see what the Welsh decision is. We assume it'll be for the posts, and indeed it is.
I think that was the only decision that needed to be made. Wales again showing continuity and keeping the ball. It's in the end slightly disappointing way to end so much pressure. Fashion like that, forwards retaining the ball, recycling, using the short side again. Mike Phillips, it's just good to see, keeping the Springboks thinking. Just looking around now, Nick, even look right under the post. I don't see much talking going on. I don't see the South Africans getting around and discussing anything. That worries me.
Won't worry you if you're Welsh. And they're within a point. South Africa 10, Wales 9. The smiles are those wearing red shirts.
Wales are in this game, that's for sure. They keep playing the way they are, they're going to win this game as well.
Phillips to Jonathan Davies. He's got through. Tackle needed to be made by Brousseau, and it was eventually, but for half a second, Davies was eyeing glory. Priestland hasn't wasted space either. Always made sure that there's room to manoeuvre beyond him. He's not eaten up the ground of those outside him. Phillips flicks it to Priestland. This is Williams. Desperately searching for the gap that would take them to the line. The amount of ball they've had suggests it's only a matter of time, but keeping in mind the quality of the South African defence as well.
South Africans still look sluggish.
And Lydiate lost the ball forward.
Still looking, your knock-on advantage.
John Smith doesn't look like a man who could run 100 metres at the moment. This is really beginning to take its toll. And Wales have the advantage, they've got the penalty. And the Wellington win, which is stiff, is very much in their sails at the moment. And the skipper, Sam Warburton, is leading from the front.
As I blew the whistle, he tried to clear him out.
It's fantastic to see. It's a great thing when you look through this Welsh team. You think about the names that you want to mention all the time, but Jonathan Davies has been fantastic. Alan Wynne-Jones, you know, he's been around a long time, playing really well. You know, Danny Lydiate, Sam Warburton, Toby. I haven't really heard a lot about the South African pack in their back row, which is all the talk before the game. And this crowd is coming alive. They're beginning to feel something. There's a real sense that there could just be a shock.
I thought he came from the gate and then got his hands on the ball. That's what I saw.
Just look at the work of Warburton.
Brave, brave boy. Brave boy. Andy Powell there getting excited.
There's a real spirit in the squad, which there hasn't always been in Welsh squads, but it is fabulous at the moment, and you can see it, you can feel it. Phillips. This is Roberts, and you can hear it as well now in the stands. These are moments that belong to Wales. Can they capitalise on them? They have to capitalise on them if they're to beat a team who are world champions. Lydiate, 5 metres short. Phillips, one moment, one gasp. Faletau has scored! Oh my goodness! The world champions are rocking, and Toby Faletau has delivered the first blow.
Didn't lose it over the line. Time off. Matty,
We need confirmation from Matt Goddard, the Australian.
Secondary question.
Did Faletau hang on to the ball as he slid over the line? Has he just scored his first?